Welcome to Shop Talk Express. Joe, good to be with you again.
Good to see you again, Dan. Hoping to get together face to face soon.
Well, absolutely. Now, we've just published what we think is quite a significant feature. Roy Strasburger, who is very much a legend in our industry, visited with us here at Shop Talk Live Studios, and we made a video. And you've also read the feature, a challenging feature that Roy wrote, which was, I felt, excellent, Joe. What Roy's done is, which I think is a little bit unusual sometimes, but very helpful, is take a long-term view of what's coming for our industry, looking 25, 30 years down the track, which I think is very useful sometimes. He looks at the fundamental challenges for our industry in terms of the long-term effects of COVID, the economic disruption, which obviously is quite severe. The inflationary situation we have now in many economies. First up, what was your reaction to some of the points that Roy made?
Well, not unexpected. Roy's I thought was really spot on most everything that he said, and I think he painted a very good picture of sort of where we are today and the effects on our industry and sort of maybe a longer term impact on it. And I guess one of the things that's really hard to imagine is sort of the geopolitical situation that's going on now and the crisis. When you're in the middle of it, you almost can't see the end game. And so how long is it going to take, and the impact, none of us really know. But I think for me, I think those are all real legitimate concerns, but I think the fundamentals are probably still in place for our industry to do well and continue to thrive and prosper. And so, I look forward to, seeing more innovation and seeing more people looking how to continue to adapt and move forward.
Well, obviously, our industry has responded very well. It's adapted well to the COVID crisis. As we come out of it, we can perhaps have a bit of perspective on that. But looking again, taking that long-term 25, 30-year view on what our key strengths are, do we have many key strengths left, Joe? What are they?
Interesting. Excuse me. Interesting. I just saw an article, maybe it was even in an X online piece, but where Starbucks is announcing a new joint venture with Volvo, and they're going to be installing supercharged EV units at a handful of their sites from Colorado to Seattle. And so, as I think about this migration toward EV, and I see that really an EV doesn't have to be at a traditional gas station or convenience store, right? I mean, we see them at the parking lots of pharmacies, at big box retailers, at shopping malls, any place that people are going to linger. There's all of a sudden you're seeing EVs. So for sure that will have some sort of impact. But I think the idea of convenience is still really focused on what I need now. It's at this moment. And I do think that technology absolutely is a game changer and has to be part of anybody's long-term strategy. But when I want something now, I don't want it in 15 minutes. I want it now. And I think that's the value that convenience brings to people. And I don't see that going away. And so I think the fueling component will force retailers to have to rethink their strategies, because you don't have to go to a C-store with fueling any longer. But you still will have to shop at a C-store for some of those indulgent things that you want immediately. And I think that's going to just continue to evolve and play a role in people's lives.
And who are some of the operators, do you feel, who are showing us what the future looks like? What's your view on that?
Well, I was on a panel with a gentleman from Wawa not that long ago, and we talked a little bit about their drive-through only stores, and while yeah, they're still in their early stages of experimenting of what it means for them and how does it fit into their portfolio. I just think that the idea of being able to experiment with the best of their offer without complicating it with all the other things and with fueling sort of is an indication of what I said, that long term, I think retailers will continue to focus on immediate consumption. And I just think, I'm not sure Wawa was doing it, is a 30-year, plan. I really don't know what their plans were, but I do think it just shows that how retailers are being innovative in their thinking. And they are thinking about the future. I think they're looking at what happens if we don't have fuel. And so I think maybe that's a good company to sort of follow and learn from and see how they get on with it.
So, looking overall, I mean, you're pretty optimistic.
I am. I mean, I think, I've been around for a while, and I remember when self-serve fueling came to the States, and oh my gosh, it was the deathbed. That was it. It was over. No more convenience stores. I mean, it was just, people just wrote off the industry at that point. No one's going to go in the stores any longer. It's just going to kill the stores. And in fact, the opposite happened. The stores actually improved. And so I think as people understand that, the sites themselves operate for when I'm not fueling, and maybe people today fuel 1 day a week, and maybe they're going to have to charge 2 days a week. But the other 3 to 5 days a week, they have other needs, and they're still mobile. They're still on the move. They're still going places. And so, I don't see any of those fundamentals changing. And I am optimistic. I think this industry will continue to evolve. I think food service will continue to improve and get better. I think they'll continue to be a major threat to most QSRs.
So we'll still be offering our advice in 30 years' time, Joe.
Well, let's hope I'm still here. But yeah, for sure. I think in 30 years we'll still be guiding and directing and helping companies figure it out.
Great. Thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Good to see you, Dan.